Hey, what's going on everybody? This is Noble, and today we're going to be going over the Noble Knight deck profile. So if you don't know, Noble Knights are actually the deck that made me fall in love with Yu-Gi-Oh! Many years ago. I had liked it and, played around with it a lot and, even sat on some tournaments and stuff. But when Noble Knights came, that really is what just made me really fall in love and just love of the game. So this one kind of has a special place in my heart. I really loved the Platinum Rares. I really loved at the time, all the equips and how stuff couldn't be targeted or destroyed. You could pop spells and traps, and you could destroy monsters. It was just really awesome. These have definitely been overshadowed by the end for Noble Knights, but the Noble Knights are still fun to play, and that's what this deck is focusing on. I'm not really mixing any Infernoble stuff in here, except for one thing, but we'll get to that. This is just really a strictly Noble Knight deck profile, which, of course, you can throw in a ton of different things than what I'm profiling here. I just kind of want to stick more strictly to the original Noble Knight theme as much as I could. So without further ado, guys, if you haven't already done so, now's a great time to subscribe, hit the bell so you can become part of the notification team, smash that like button, and let's get right on into this. So to start off with, I'm playing triple Merlin, as you saw in the intro. I want to go ahead and say, if you don't want to play Merlin, I know some people don't like Merlin, you don't have to. As I said earlier, I was just kind of trying to stick more to the original Noble Knight theme as much as I could, so that's why I'm running it. I actually do like this card quite a bit, but like I said, I do know some people don't. So if you don't want to play Merlin, you can literally swap this out for a playset of Ash or something like that. But what Merlin does is you can tribute this card and you special summon a Noble Knight monster from your deck. You cannot special summon monsters the turn you activate this effect except Noble Knight monsters, which keep that in mind in case you do use this. Probably won't be an issue, but in case you wanted to go into a Link 4 or something later that turn. A quick effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard immediately after this effect resolves. Synchro summon one Noble Knight synchro monster using monsters you control. Quick effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard immediately after this effect resolves. Exceed summon one Noble Knight Exceed monster using monsters you control. So I really like this card back in the day. This is a really great way to get into my drought and to really kickstart your engine. I do really like Merlin, even if it's just strictly for nostalgia purposes. And again, I'm gonna say, if you don't want to run this, you can play a playset of Ash or something else. You don't have to. Next up, which you will definitely want to be playing 3 of, is a Noble Knight Brothers, at least in my opinion. This is a really good one. I actually dabbled with it 2 for a while, but I thought 3 was better, especially in a more strict Noble Knight build. So this card can only attack when you control exactly 3 Noble Knight monsters and no other monsters. When this card is normal summoned, you can special summon up to 2 Noble Knight monsters from your hand. Also, you cannot special monsters for the rest of the turn except Noble Knight monsters, so do keep that in mind. It does lock you into the Noble Knights. Once per turn, you can target 3 Noble Knight and or Noble Arms cards in your graveyard, shuffle all 3 of those back into the deck, and then draw a card. This is a really great card. I don't really know what to say. This is a really great card for this deck. I do recommend you playing it 3. It is very helpful. Another one that's very helpful is triple Noble Knight Madrat. Madrat is really cool. I'm opting to play the ultra rare ones in this one instead of the platinum rares, because I think it looks a little bit prettier. But when this card is treated as a normal monster while face up on the field, while equipped with a Noble Arms spell card, this card becomes an effect monster with this effect. This card becomes dark and its level is increased by 1. Once per turn, if you control no other monsters, you can special summon 1 Noble Knight monster from your deck in defense position, except another copy of this card, and if you do, destroy 1 equipped spell you control, which, if you don't really know anything about the Noble Knights, that's not a big deal, because the equipped spell that you control is just going to come back anyway. We're going to be able to use it a lot, like back in the day, you'd bring this out, go into Boars, use Boars effect, and then go into your place from there. This is just a fantastic card. You definitely want this in your open hand as quickly as you can get to it. Next up, playing triple copies of Noble Knight Kustanin. I don't know how to say it. But he's really cool because if you control a Noble Arms equipped spell, you can special summon this card from your hand. You only special summon Noble Knight Kustanin once per turn this way. A Noble Knight monster that was Synchro, Exceed, or Link summon using this card as a material gains this effect. That if this card is special summon, you can normal summon 1 Noble Knight monster during your main phase this turn in addition to your normal summon / set. You only gain this effect once per turn, and then you're locked into summoning Noble Knight monsters for the rest of the turn from the extra deck. So this is really cool. You are definitely going to want to use this to go into your extra deck plays because getting that additional summon is very beneficial. I'm running double copies of Ivan, and I've seen people play this one at 3, and honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. Just for the sake of deck size, I didn't want to run this at 3. But what this does is if a Noble Arms equipped spell, it becomes equipped to this card. You can special summon a Noble Knight token. It's a Warrior Light level 4 attack and defense 1000. And then you're locked into summoning Noble Knight monsters for the rest of the turn. And you can only use this effect of Ivan once per turn. And while this card is equipped with a Noble Arms equipped spell, all other Noble Knight monsters you control gain 500. So this is a good card. Definitely arguably worthy of running it at 3. I'm running just one Boars. Boars is really great still in my opinion, but it's just kind of phased out more. If you wanted to bump this one up, especially if you're playing a more strictly original Noble Knight build, that's fine. You definitely could do that. But what he does is this card is treated as a normal monster while face up on the field, and when it's equipped with a Noble Arms equipped spell, it becomes an effect monster with this effect. That this card becomes dark and his level is increased by 1. And then during your main phase, you can reveal 3 Noble Arms cards from your deck, have your opponent randomly add one of them to your hand, and then send the rest to the graveyard. You can only use this effect once per turn. I'm also playing double copies of Gawain. Gawain is just really easy to go to help go into your plays, because all he does is if you control a light normal monster, you special on this card from your hand defense position, and it's not even soft once per turn. So he definitely can help you go into your extra deck and get some extra bodies on the field. I'm playing double copies of Morgan, the Enchantress of Avalon. I really like this card a lot. When your opponent activates a card or effect while you control a Noble Knight monster and a Noble Arms equipped spell, quick effect, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. Destroy a Noble Arms equipped spell you control, which isn't going to matter because it's going to come back unless it's Excalibur. And then you negate the activation. You only use this effect once per turn. But this is really good to have in your hand because you basically have an Omnigate in your hand, and you're going to have the other criteria meet where you have a Noble Knight or a Noble Arms equipped spell as well. So I really like this card. I even played it at 3. Just wanted to at one time, but I just wanted to put more things in this deck. So I really like this. I have a peace of mind when I draw into this card for sure. If you want us playing one Noble Knight Dristan, one, I ain't saying that, Queen of the Noble Arms, that's the only way I know to say that. One Lady of the Lake, and then also one Guashalad. If you don't want to play him, that's fine. In fact, if you don't want to play any of these, that's fine. Like I said before, there's a ton of different things you get thrown into this deck. This is more of a strictly original Noble Knight build, so that's why I'm running these. And so the one in for Noble Knight thing, ish thing I'm running, is I am choosing to run triple Immortal Phoenix Gearfried. I feel pretty okay about it because it helps out the deck a ton, but it's also not technically an Infernoble card, even though it basically is, right? But this card is really cool, and it helps out a lot in this deck as well because you can banish an equipped spell from your field or graveyard special this card from your hand, so it's super easy to get out. And at the start of the damage step, the card attacks. You can equip one face-up monster on the field to this card, maximum 1. Is an equipped spell that gives this card 500 attack, and when a monster effect is activated, quick effect, you can send a face-up equipped spell you control to the graveyard and negate the activation. If you do destroy it, you'll use the effect once per turn. If you don't want to, if you don't stay more strictly again to like a Noble Knight build, or if you don't really care about that, I do think this card is really beneficial to this deck, and I definitely felt okay throwing this in there. Like it's just really, it helps out a ton. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's move on into the spells. So for the spells, running triple Heritage of the Chalice. This card is absolutely phenomenal. It's the built-in searcher of both this and the Infernobles of basically anything you need, because you add a Noble Knight monster or a Noble Arms card from your deck or graveyard to your hand. And I covered this in my Infernoble deck profile, but just being able to grab something from the graveyard as well, your deck or your graveyard, it gives you so many more options for another spot of resources, and it's really helpful. And then it has another amazing effect where if your Noble Knight monster equipped with a Noble Arms equipped spell is destroyed by battle and sent in the graveyard while this card is in your graveyard, you can add this card back to your hand. You only use one effect per turn and only once that turn. This card is really amazing. I definitely think you should run this one at 3. Definitely max it out because it just helps the consistency of this deck so much. I'm running double Glory of the Noble Knights. It's a quick play spell. I actually really like this one a lot. You target a Noble Knight monster you control and equip it with one equipped spell from your deck that can be equipped to that target. You only activate one Glory of the Noble Knights per turn. And this is really cool. The fact is a quick play is really helpful as well. If they like get past like one of your destinies, but you have another destiny in your deck, that's just really cool. Just being able to activate that and have that kind of like little disruption on your opponent's turn, and you're basically playing extra copies of whatever you need as well. So I really like this card a lot. Running one Monster Reborn, it's a really great card, and one Rhoda, of course, because this is freaking Noble Knights deck. Also running the Platinum Rare one. You'll pay homage to the original. As far as the Noble Arms are concerned, I'm running double Excalibur. Excalibur is really cool. It's the only one that does not come back, so do keep that in mind. But what Excalibur does is equip only to a Noble Knight monster. It cannot be targeted by opponent's card effects, which gives it great protection. During your turn, except the turn this card is sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target a Noble Knight Exceed monster you control, special summon from your extra deck one Noble Knight Exceed monster with a different name by using that target as material. And this is treated as an Exceed summon, and the materials of that monster are transfer over to the new monster. You only use this effect once per turn. This is a really good card. I do recommend you play two of this one, because this one doesn't come back of its own volition as easily as well. I'm also running double Destiny. Like I said, just in the example of the Glory of the Noble Knights, this card, like just being able to pull another one out of this deck with that card, your opponent is going to want to get rid of this because what it does is you can only control one Destiny and equip only to a warrior type monster, and then once per turn the equipped monster cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect, so it gives it like kind of an annoying protection. They basically have to do something twice, which isn't, you know, too bad in meta, but you know, pure Noble Knights is definitely rogue, so that could be a little more problematic-ish. So I do run two of this one, and then this is face-up card. On the field is destroyed and sent in the graveyard. You can target a warrior type Noble Knight monster you control and equip this card to that target. So it comes back unlike Excalibur. I'm running one Gallatin. What it does is it bumps up your Noble Knight by 1,000, and then during your standby phase, it loses 200, and then the same thing if it left the field, it comes back. Excalibur raises your Noble Knight's attack by 500, and then each of your standby phases you gain 500 life points, which is cool. And then also one Clarent. What Clarent does is it allows you to pay 500 life points, and then you can attack directly. And then this one comes back as well, so that is really nice. And I'm only playing two traps. I'm playing double copies of Until Noble Arms Are Needed once again. This is a really cool card. What it does is you excavate cards from the top of your deck equal to the number of Noble Arms equipped spells you control, and if you do, add one of them to your hand. Also place the remaining cards on the top of your deck in any order. So without even going further, not only do you get to add something to your hand, you get to basically set up for your next draws, which is really cool. And then you can banish this card from your graveyard, except the turn this card was sent in the graveyard, and special summon from your deck a Noble Knight monster with a different name from the cards you control or in your graveyard. Kind of a tough stipulation right there, but you can get by that sometimes. And then you can only use this effect once per turn. So that's actually it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, I'm playing double of Artorias, King of the Noble Knights, if I could say it. So what he does is he's two level 4 Noble Knight monsters. When this card is Exceed summoned, you can target up to 3 Noble Arms equipped spells with different names in your graveyard and equip those targets to this card. That's awesome. And then once per turn, you can detach material from this card and destroy any number of spell and trap cards on the field up to the number of Noble Arms equipped spells you control, which a lot of times can very easily be a lot. Like, especially with his ability to just bring 3 out straight from the graveyard, not including the ones that you have in your hand as well. You'll be able to pop a lot of back row. I really like this card a lot. It's probably my favorite one, actually. Next up, playing double of Sacred Noble Knight of King Artorias. What he does is, when this card is Exceed summoned, same thing, you can target up to 3 Noble Arms equipped spells with different names in your graveyard and equip them to this card. And then once per turn, you can detach material from this card, then target one other monster on the field and destroy that target. It does target, so there is that, but it's nice to have that pop-in ability. And then if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target level 4 or higher Noble Knight monster in your graveyard, special summon that target. So it does have kind of a cool floating effect as well. Playing double copies of Sacred Noble Knight of King Custanin. I still don't know how to say it. 2+ level 4 Noble Knight monsters. You can detach any number of materials from this card, then target that many cards only your opponent controls and return them to the hand. So it doesn't destroy, it kind of compulses them, which is nice. It does target, but it also gets by destruction and protection. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you special summon a Noble Knight Exceed monster from your extra deck, except another copy of this card. And if you do that, this card from the graveyard, you attach it to this card, to that card, you attach this card to that card from the graveyard as material. Wow, I was struggling. And it's treated as a synchro summon. It's not a synchro, good lord, an Exceed summon. I was struggling. So yeah, basically a really cool floating effect where you can just bring something else out and then it has a free material and he's treated as a Exceed summon, so that's really cool. Also, that's it for the Exceeds, but if you wanted to run a Divine Arsenal Azusa, you could do that. I've actually won some games with that because it's actually, you do go into Exceeds fairly normally in this deck, so this actually really helps out with that. And I know it's not really on theme, but I just wanted to point out that you could do that. I'm just running one Exceed Ignoble Knight of Hyalanda Selin, or however the heck you say it. When this card is a Synchro Summon, you can equip a Noble Arms equipped spell card from your deck to this card, and then at the end of the battle phase, if this card destroyed the opponent's monster by battle and sent it to the graveyard, you can add one Noble Knight or Noble Arms card from your deck to your hand. You can only control one of however the heck you say this card's name. Which I actually like that effect. That's cool. I'm playing triple Isolde in this deck because I freaking have used 3 almost every single game. If you wanted to bump this down to 2 and then, you know, have room to run something else in the extra deck, you could absolutely do that. That would not be a problem. But Isolde is so good in all warrior decks, especially the deck it was made for. So what Isolde does is this card is Link Summon. It's just linked to, by the way, to warrior monsters. You can add one warrior monster from your deck to your hand, but then for the rest of this turn you cannot normal summon or set or special summon monsters with the same name, nor activate their monster effects. You can send any number of equipped spells with different names from your deck to the graveyard. Special summon one warrior monster from your deck whose level equals the number of cards sent to the graveyard. You can only use each effect of Isolde 2 Tales of the Noble Knights once per turn. Like I said, if you want to bump this one down to 2, you could do that. That'd be fine. And then just a few generic things. I'm running an IP Masquerena, a Nightmare Phoenix, a Nightmare Unicorn, and then also an access code and an Avermax as well. And again, you don't have to have access code to play Noble Knights. That is not a prerequisite for playing this rogue deck. If you have it, hey, it's really nice to have. If you have that and AA Zeus and, you know, Avermax, go forward. You know, it's cool to be able to throw these really powerful boss monsters into this rogue deck, but if you don't, the deck still functions without them as well. They're just kind of win condition cards. So that's actually it for the deck profile, guys. I really do hope you enjoyed this one. Like I said, Noble Knights kind of hold a special place in my heart because they really made me fall in love with Yu-Gi-Oh! And made me realize this is something that I really wanted to pursue. You know, let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear, what is the deck that made you fall in love with Yu-Gi-Oh? Or, like, you know, what was there, a tournament or something that happened? It's a really interesting conversation. I actually really would love to hear, what is there a specific archetype, specific card? You know, I would love to hear what made you fall in love with this really fun game. So let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear that. And yeah, thanks for watching. If you're here and you haven't already done so, like I said earlier, now's a great time to subscribe. And then after that, you can hit the bell so you become a part of the notification team, so you don't miss anything that goes on this channel. And after you've done all that, or before, I'm not picky, you can give this video a thumbs up. Let me know, hey Noble, I liked your video, I like your content, and it allows myself to circulate on YouTube, which is very critical for a small YouTuber like myself. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, I'll see y'all in the next video.